Hey YouTubers, I've put about 1,500 miles on this e-bike since I bought it, and I was perfectly happy with the stock tires until I rode the bike with something better. And now I really hate the stock tires and I really like the new ones. So let me tell you about them. Okay, with both the old and the new tires, I ran with the 27.5-inch extra strong slime-filled inner tubes. I know a lot of people really hate slime because it makes a mess if you do get a flat, but this stuff has got me home several times. I've had a few times I've been riding and found something stuck in the tire and either was able to pull it out or it was already fell out and saw green bubbles coming out of my tire and got home without a problem. So I'm a firm believer in the slime tubes, and I just put new tubes in the new tires. I came out a few weekends ago to ride my bike and discovered the rear tire was completely flat. And I was going to put a new inner tube in, but when I took the tire off, I discovered that it's coming apart around the bead. And there's even an area or two here where you can almost see the metal bead inside. And once I saw this, I decided this tire was not going back on the bike. So I started researching touring tires in a 27.5-inch size, and the Schwalbe, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, is a very popular tire and highly rated, and usually comes in first or second in most of the reviews, so I decided to go ahead and get some. Now, the Schwalbe Marathon tire is very popular and very durable, and they recently came out with an E+ version, which has even thicker protection underneath the tread and a little bit beefier construction overall to handle the extra weight and stress that e-bikes put on bicycle tires. And so I started researching these. These are designed in Germany, made in Vietnam, but I could not find any in the United States for sale. I had to order them directly from Schwalbe, North America in Canada. So comparing the old tire to the new tire, the night and day difference. These things are really, really soft and flimsy. There's just not much material in there. I noticed when I went to put these on, these have thicker sidewalls, but they are much thicker behind the treads. And you notice it when you air them up. I used to run 50 to 55 PSI on these things because they were like marshmallows if I didn't. With only 30 PSI, I'm getting the same firmness in these that I got at 55 PSI in these other tires. So these have a much lower rolling resistance. And running at 30 PSI, bumps are not nearly as bad. Expansion joints and things that used to just really rattle my teeth before, now I can stay in the saddle and ride over them. They're no big deal. And also running 30 PSI, I've greatly reduced my chances of getting a flat. So much better construction, much lower rolling resistance, and a far superior tread design. These tires ride well going in a straight line because they've got a good central rib here, but there's an area here where there's no tread in between, and when you transition from going straight to leaning into a turn, you enter a little squirmy zone here when you get between these two tread blocks. And there are some turns that I would always take very cautiously, because until you got from the center bead over here to the side bead, it felt very unstable. The way the treads are constructed on here, they overlap a good bit. And taking turns, I never felt like I was transitioning from the center bead to the shoulder bead. It just felt very smooth. And turns that I used to take very carefully and cautiously, I took at full speed today. Probably shouldn't, but I took them flat out and felt very confident. And the bike rides smoother, and to be honest with you, it rides, well, it feels more like I'm riding a motorbike than a bicycle. There's a pretty steep hill I go down at high speed, probably in excess of 30 miles an hour, and felt absolutely stable and safe on these, whereas on these other tires, the bike kind of wandered a little bit. And so I know this is pretty extreme, comparing probably one of the worst tires out there to one of the best, but it's really been an eye-opener for me. And I think any bike I buy in the future, whatever it comes with, I'm going to be ditching the stock tire for these Schwalbes. They really are worth the money. And they were not cheap. They were about $60 a tire, but I expect them to last probably the life of this bike. I'll probably get bored with this bike and sell it before I ever wear these tires out. So I really, really highly recommend these. And it doesn't hurt that they look sharp too. I think the bike looks less like a beach cruiser and a lot more purposeful. Another little minor thing, this really doesn't matter, but I noticed it. The reflective stripe on these things was not centered. And so when you'd ride, you'd see that stripe kind of wobble around. The reflective stripe on these is uniform all the way around the tire. And so it's just another example of how poorly made these things are. So if you've got these on your bike, ditch them and buy yourself some quality tires. You will really, really notice the difference.